This portion of the meeting is public hearing for the budget on Thursday, August 29th, 6 p.m. at Alexander Convention Center Conference Room, 290 IH35 Access Road. We're going to, first thing we want to do is let us do the opening
Correct.
before we do the opening.
Yeah, so we open the public hearing and then you can
So
go ahead.
currently opening the public hearing, and we're going to pass it on to our accountant, Mr. Tres Garcia.
So, good evening, Council, Mayor, Mr. Rudd. I've had some time to review the proposed 2025 or September 30, 2025 year-end budget. I'd like to open this up to discussion, comments, and along the budget that you think we should have as part of that. Are there any?
Tres, I have, how do we address the salaries and things like that? How are those, how do we put them into the budget, and what it takes to do that?
So at the end of the year, depending on how that year went, I get the end of year hourly rate, multiply that by the 2,088. For this fiscal year, we start on a Tuesday, end on a Tuesday. So we're gonna have 2,088 hours for the fiscal year. So I'll go ahead and get their hourly rate, multiply that by the amount of hours that's in the year, and then I'm sorry, that's how you get their annual salary. So you multiply their rate times the number of hours in the year, and it gives you what they make for the year. You know, that's base salary if they work 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week.
That's 26 pay periods.
That is 26 pay periods, 261. Oh, yeah.
Yes, it's 52 weeks, 26 pay period.
261 working days, I think that's it.
So are salaries and hourly employees treated the same way
On what?
on the how to calculate, or do we
So for,
do we break up the employee who are on salary to get an hourly wage, because they really don't. It's on
No,
salary.
Yeah, so whenever we're doing the salary breakdown, we're getting at what they're doing, or we're getting at what base salary they're making within the 40 hours. Any overtime isn't calculated and shown on that schedule. That's shown in the overtime expense item, and that's where you'll be able to see what overtime is being used depending on the month or the situation. The thing is, whenever you're looking at an hourly and a salary individual, it's easier to calculate what a salary individual is going to make in a year because it's set, right? They're 80 hours at a set rate. Unless there's going to be some sort of raise or bonus or something, that's the only possible way that it can skew the calculation if you're trying to figure out what they're going to make in a year. So the way that their hourly base is, there's no difference in the way that it's treated. If we're doing a cost of living or any type of raise, it's going to be across the board. And so we just take their hourly rate, multiply that by the agreed upon cost of living, and then we presume that way or resume that way. So there's really no difference in treatment. It's just with the salary individuals, you'll be able to tell, where they're going to be at and where they should be at throughout the year.
So when we budget those salaries and things like that, it's based on what that hourly wages is not included. Whether they get a stipend for phone, whether they get OT, whether they get any of that,
No.
Nothing like that. That's what gets budgeted.
Yes.
And then from there, we go and break it up. We break up the OT and things like that, right?
Yeah. So we look at what they're going to make in a year. We look at the last year's overtime, and then we adjust on if we're going to, suppress the overtime, or we're going to evaluate it at the year end, see if what we're going to allow or not allow, but what's going to require from us in the following year. So if we budget 30,000 in overtime, we use 25, we'll adjust at the end of the year if we think it's going to go up or going to go down. It's kind of just depends on year to year because if for some reason the water sewer, usually things in there go bad, right? And usually those things, they cost a lot of money, and those services can't be delayed any. And sometimes they need to go out there at all times of the day, get it done. Those are really things you can't really account for. Those are emergencies. And we can't really say, hey, they're going to have emergencies on May 15th, 2025. So it's really hard for an hourly individual to kind of have a concrete idea of where they're going to be at, because overtime is kind of varies, depending on the situation.
Okay. The other question I had, ma'am, go ahead.
I was just wondering if an employee's salary is capped,
Uh-huh.
are they still entitled to the cost of living increase?
I'm not too sure. I think that's
I'd
up
like-
to y'all. I think that's
Okay,
something
I'd like
we need
to
to
find
agree
out.
on here.
Okay.
If someone's going to be capped, I'm here for y'all. If we're going to allow it, it'll be implemented. If it's something that we're not going to do, well, then it'll be deducted to y'all's liking.
So Ms. Korleski, through TML, I've actually developed a pay schedule for every tier within the city, also with a cap schedule for each tier. I went through it. There was a lot of questions involved in what I was doing and how I was doing it. Came to the conclusion that I feel like maybe I shouldn't be the one doing it, that I should have an outside source come in and actually do the pay rate study. TML has all the information that we need to do these things. I can put a population of a city in, and it'll give me all the cities with that population. And I was able to do an average, and I could see there that, some people that are paid here are median compared. Nobody's on the high side, and some are on the low side. But I made a setup how I thought it should be, but I'm really, like I said, I feel like I should have somebody come in and do it. Maybe I shouldn't be the one.
Thank you. That being said, I think, David, did you got, who was it at Middle Rio Grande that is going to come and do an assessment?
Texas Water Development Board.
Texas Water Development Board is supposed to do an assessment. We thought maybe we would take that into consideration. I am on the side of trying to grasp where we are with salaries and things like that, and I was thinking of pay schedules myself. We developed a pay schedule that would be adequate and that would be justly distributed, and we could do a better means of tracking. Of course, there's always those situations, as Tres said, that you've got that emergency situation.
Well,
Then
yes, of
we
course.
account for that. We deal with that.
Of course.
Right. So along the lines of salaries also, employees that are on salaries, generally it is for a reason, because they do work excessive amount of hours.
Right.
Like myself, especially in this position, and when I was in the water department, being I was a licensed operator and inspector.
Right.
Not everybody can respond to every call. When I came into the position, I opened up to everybody, every employee in the city, to get the proper licensing, proper education. I had a few take advantage of it, but not everybody. That's where we run into, having a qualified person do the job. With that, adjustments in salaries, $1.50 raise per license is generally what we've given historically, and that would be the only time outside of council that there would be a raise. So, but it is open currently still to every person that works for the city. Anything they want to do to help us and get education, we're more than willing to. We've always been.
It's a good idea. I myself like to have similar government entities like the one in Cotulla and go to different cities, Pearsall, Carrizo, Crystal City, Atascosa, Pleasanton, Jordan, and see what the similarity of every individual that works in city government. We're not going to be by the penny or exactly, but at least to have a formality of that way there will be no difference in money wise.
Sure.
And that way nobody gets pissed off. And the main concern is the people that work outside and work in the sun and the shovel and the hard labor. And again, it goes for the people educated and inside the facility, because they're the ones that break the brain and education. But I want to be in the same page like other city governments, so we can be in the same.
One thing that I noticed that kind of made it a little hard was, I'm going to say, for instance, your city secretary. Some cities, the city secretary was part-time. She had a lower income. Other cities, she was city secretary / city administrator. She had a higher income. It's really based on what the job duty is at each city. The other ones, if they have something similar to us, then we say, okay, we're in the right ballpark.
Yeah, something similar.
Right, but it's sometimes hard to gauge it.
Yeah.
Pearsall, Dilly, Carrizo, they operate the way we do. Most of our cities in our region do. But there are those little ones that have different job duties.
There's going to be different things that some other cities might have than we do. But just to have a little formality, something similar.
And here in Catula, we've never had just one job. We've always had
Right.
multiple duties.
Correct.
You know.
So that being said, I really hope that next year I have, I've been in a crash course, as you guys know, since May, and I had a lot of information coming towards me. I know that the budget is one of the big things that the mayor should be working closer to. This year, I can tell you, I had not very much input on the budget, and I want to be more in the middle of the budget. That way I can give you more information, and our public and our citizens, that we're the stewards of their money, and we should have accountability and know where our money's coming from. With that being said, Tres, can you kind of tell us what, on your first page, or what is it, proposed tax, how these monies come together and how we have money for expenditures and how we go about getting our money? Like, for instance, how we get the 70%, 70 cents from the appraisal district, that kind of thing. Can you give a little overview?
About the taxes we receive.
How we get revenue, yeah.
So one of the main sources of revenue that we're getting is the property tax. The estimated value for the city of Catula this year was $227,817,476, and we're proposing a tax rate of 70 cents. And so our maintenance and operation tax rate our proposed maintenance and operation tax rate is gonna be set at the 0.25 or 0.25617, and our maintenance and operation proposed debt service tax rate, is at 0.44383. And so to determine how much we're going to be collecting with these different rates is you multiply the estimated value or the certified value multiplied by the rate that we're going to be collecting, and then you divide that by 100. So this year in the maintenance and operation, with the proposed 77 tax rate, maintenance and operation will collect $583,600, and in the debt service will collect $1,011,122. That is with a 70-cent property tax rate.
So the 70 cents stayed the same for 2024, and looks like it's gonna stay the same for 2025. So
Yes.
doing that, you did the numbers and everything else, does it look like we're currently gonna be right size?
We're going to be what?
That we have our head above water?
Well, we definitely got an increase from last year, if that's what you're asking. If it's the change isn't gonna, do too much. There's other things we need to implement to, help us get to where we want to be. But this is definitely something going in the right direction, right? Because, it's important to kind of make sure that all the essentials are covered. And if we can collect more money to give back or reinvest into the city, it's important.
So our tax rate, it covers our debt obligation for the city of Catula, and it also covers the operation and maintenance of departments that are not profitable or do not make money. So like your street department. There has been conversation about raising tax rate outside of actually higher than what it is. My feeling is that we need to fix our departments before we raise the property tax. Water department, sanitation, gas department. We are currently going through a rate study, which is going to be part of a presentation tonight or approval of ordinance. All those departments are not profiting. Sanitation is the worst, and I think since 2014, what is the total? $2.2 million
Yeah, like 2.3, 2.5 million.
that we've lost in that department. That has been subsidized by our sales tax. So the big thing about this is, a few years ago as I came to council, because, I was hearing council say, well, why can't we do this? And why can't we do that project? Well, the reason is because every single department the city of Catula has is being subsidized by the sales tax, by the money that we have to do things.
Yeah.
That's where we need to fix the problem first. We need to fix our business. After that, if the city takes out more loans, maybe it would go up. next year, as far as property tax, I actually predict that the tax may go down. We fixed our departments. There is one loan obligation I'm looking at. I'm hoping for a $20 million obligation. We will pay $6 million, $14 million will be a grant. And that would be through the Texas Water Development Board. But with the rate study, the water department will pay for it versus our catalog.
Right.
So this eventually is gonna go down. But right now, being the way that the departments are, this number cannot move.
So the 0.70 for the past 3 years has been the same.
Yes, it's been the same, but the reason with the fluctuation with the money is because the values have jumped up and down.
For the
So
property.
we've maintained the 70 cents, but the money that we're generating off that 70 cents has been changing.
Correct, because your appraisal's gone up year after year.
Yeah.
2010, I saw a document the other day, 2010, we were at $52 million ad valorem. And I know they said 221 million today. The numbers actually with untaxed is 247 million. Every year we're going up still. We're still growing.
Yeah.
So I believe Mr. Dovalina, he kind of counted on growth of Cotulla, and that's why the rates never really change with the water or anything like that. And it hasn't become stagnant, but it is slow to grow. And it's the inflation is outpacing the growth.
Definitely. Yeah. So for those of you that keep up with legislation and stuff like that, we I spoke a little bit on the homestead, and can you touch on that?
Yeah, so the homestead tax exemption is a $100,000 exemption that I guess if you're in the tax roll for the school district, that it takes off $100,000 of your taxable value. So if your house is $500,000, that's just a number. You'd subtract the $100,000 off that, and that'll be based off, or that's how you'll get the taxes you're paid, or that you're gonna pay.
But the good thing with that, when we went to meet with the appraiser, Tres and I, that does not have an impact on what we get. It's more for the school and things like that. So that was our concern, was how did it impact us?
Yeah.
And
It only
no
impacts the schools.
Yes. Yes. Sir, any question? No. Anyone? Before I open it to the public?
No.
Thank you, Mr. Garcia. So at this time, do we have any citizens that wanted to comment on the budget?
We have Mr. Zamorano on the taxes.
Okay.
Good evening, Councilman, Mayor. As a taxpayer, I do have a problem when I see a governmental entity taking advantage of the taxpayer. When you're short of funds, and you've known that for quite a while, you do not invest in making more expenditures that's going to put you deeper in the hole. For a lot of people, and I don't know if you're taxpayers or not, but if you are and you have the funds to take the increases, well, praise the Lord. But most of the taxpayers don't. We have duties of taxation to the county, the city, the school, the water district, the state, and it goes on and on and on. The last thing we want to see is put in more burden and responsibility because of inadequate expenditure. I don't know the decision making on how expenditures are made, and I think that there was something put on the table already that the departments are not making enough money. Okay. But we have to be responsible on how we cut expenditures. For example, I don't know if you how active the council is in participating in the planning and decision-making because you see the information. You represent the consumer, the taxpayer. That's why you're here. You don't represent the administration or the structure. You represent the community and the taxpayers, and you want to be cost effective. The last thing is the state just gave the taxpayer a break in the school values. And why did they do that? Because we're living in a time of where the inflation, we call it inflation, everything is tripling. The taxpayer doesn't necessarily make more money. I don't know what policies you have, and that's one of the things that I would ask. Show me the policies that says that you cannot put a freeze across the board. Show me a policy that the problem that we have means hiring more staff. And I assure you that if you hire more people, you are not going to get out of that hole that says that the department is not making enough money. You're just increasing the cost. How many of you are aware of time study? Finding out what the employee really does. Do you have personnel policies? That's a question. Have you seen the personnel policies? Do you see what you as a council are committing yourself to? You have to get involved. You as a council have to know when the information comes to you, you already know the pro and cons of what we're dealing with. Do you have job descriptions? Do you practice the ordinance that you come and pass? There are a lot of ordinances that I've heard here that are not even practiced. And they are put in here because you want to make more money and make this community a better community. But if they're not enforced, you ain't going to get anything. And the community is still the east side of Cotula. I was born here, and it hasn't changed since I was a kid. Because we're not constant in our cleanup. I know a counselor that the first time I heard that person speak to me was a concern about cleaning the community. And that council member, the community is still dirty, especially the east side. We want progress. We need to clean up our community. We have to have vision and we got to be creative. And one person does not, the individual that's going to create. You as a council are responsible for anything, good or bad. You have a responsibility. That's why you got on the council, because you were going to think things better and you were going to support the taxpayer and the community.
Mr. Most, I want to thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you.
At this time, if we have no other this closes the hearing for our budget meeting and workshop.
Just note the time here. The time.
The time?
Note the time.
The time is 6:24. All right, good evening, everyone. This is going to be our regular meeting. We're going to get started. We're going to start out with, we're going to call this meeting to order at 6:30 in the evening on August 29th, 2024. City Secretary, please call roll call.
Ms. Mary Corleski,
Here.
Mr. Gilbert Ayala,
Here.
Mr. Alejandro Garcia Jr.,
Here.
Ms. Trish Garcia,
Here.
and Mr. Manuel Rodriguez,
Here.
Mayor Sandra Luna.
Here. All right, if everyone will please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic of which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So we do have a public comment, but before that, I'd like to make a public comment. This is from, this one is from Mr. Larry Dovalina. And what he says is, Mayor and Council, City Council, in 2008, I came to Cotulla for a 3-month assessment. I stayed for 16 years. During my tenure, our tax base and ad valorem increased by 57 million to 257 million. Most small cities never experienced this growth. A new convention center was built, the largest airport in rural South Texas. New streets, major improvements in water and sewer lines became a reality. Economic development that was unprecedented. I would remiss if I did not thank past city council and mayors for their loyal support over that period of time. I will miss a city that is like my second home. Cotulla will continue to prosper under the capable hands of David Wright and the good staff who are now in charge of all city activities. Rest assured that I am only a phone call away to help in if a situation should arise that requires extra help. Larry Dovalina.
Oh, he did resign today. Just to let everybody know.
You'll be greatly missed.
Yes, ma'am.
Good guy. Next, we're going to have the public speaker is going to be on number 10. So when we get to that, we'll let him speak.
I have a question, Mayor, if I
Yes.
may. I do believe, I might be wrong, this is not a regular meeting, it's a special meeting.
That's correct.
It's a special meeting.
This is
Special meeting,
Right.
Thank you.
So City Secretary, you noted that. Next, we're going to go to number 5, departmental and committee reports. We're going to start with municipal court. That's going to be, I'm sorry, did I miss? Citizens to be heard. It is, we only have one for number 10.
Okay. So he's not going to speak in open comment.
No, it's going to be on number 10. He has a
Okay.
comment on number 10.
Sorry, Mayor. Apologize.
Okay, now we start with the departments, please. Municipal court. What do we have on? I think
Maybe we just have to report on.
on your packet,
Yes,
she
ma'am.
has a report.
Municipal court, I did get a voicemail from Ms. Vicky. She said that she was not able to make it and that she is currently working on 3 different cases. And that's really all I have. So it's under investigation, so I don't want to give out names or anything like that.
So under her little memo that she had no payment collections, no citations, no court held for anyone this month. All right. Let's say on B, code compliance.
I need to ask if we have questions.
Good evening, Mayor and Council and Mr. Wright. So my report was in the packet, and I do have an update. I had another vehicle removed on Pecos by the Housing Authority that he committed to have it removed by today, and it was removed. I checked about 4:30 and it was gone. I also met with Mr. Ibarra from AEP to discuss the 2 issues under the streetlights. The 1400 block is going to get the street light. On Pole Street, he's working on 2 construction estimates, and those will be provided to council as soon as they come in for discussion.
Can you explain to the council, Juanita, the two options that we're gonna have for that light?
Yes, sir. So the first option is that we can install a pole with a floodlight. The only concern he had regarding that is because of the type of LED lighting, and it might affect oncoming traffic. So that was one. The other is to just install a regular street light with a pole that's already there, just putting a new transformer.
So the idea of the floodlight is if they install it and we do not face it towards the road, we face it towards the creek, it'll light the creek up and you'll still have some ambient light into the street. So you're gonna have a lot more light in that area for people that are passing through the creek and maybe disgruntled or doing whatever they're doing.
Right. So, but that pole would be installed like right where the creek is. There's like a little hill that goes down. He thought that would be a good area to put it there. So we'd have a pole with a transformer there and the floodlight.
What address was that?
That's it's on Pole Street, right,
Okay.
right where it intersects with I believe it's Stadium.
So I have a comment on that. Living in that area, we all know that the creek sometimes get used by undesirables. All that area from Highway 97 all the way through town is very dark. If you have a theft or things like that, you have illegal activity in that creek. If you have what we know is bailouts out here with immigration, sometimes they end up in that creek. It's very dark and very, very unsafe. Some of our locals walk through that area and it is very dark. So it might just take a complete assessment. Maybe we can get one as well on Pecos and look and down the road to have some areas of lighting. Just a recommendation.
Right. Yes, ma'am. So as long as the pole is there and they have a transformer in the area, the only cost would be the street light. But if there's no transformer, then the city would have to pay for the construction cost and install the pole with the light.
So if the pole's there and the power's there, you're paying rate only. They'll put the light up for free. Your current lights that are in town, if they go out, the socket goes out, AEP will come in and replace it with an LED light for free. We currently have a contract with AEP. Number's going to sound small, but if the council ever decided that we wanted to change out all the old lights and go to LED, it's $135 a light. The calculation is a little over $60,000 to the whole city. The savings to the city, my projection is around $25,000 a year. So you make the money back in 3 years. We just need the initial investment to be able to do it. So that's something that we could bring to the agenda in the future.
The other thing that I had when David and I were discussing some of the lighting was we purchase some light poles and start using solar as we're trying to transition into some form of energy off of the sun and things like that. That might be something to look at as well.
And we can't use any hotel motel taxes. correct?
Not for this, man. Sorry.
Just off.
So that was the only update I had in addition to what was in your packet.
Any questions for Tony Point? Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I do. And the citations, you have a citation here with tampering with meter.
Yes, sir.
You did give a citation. I just was wondering what else is taken to be done with somebody tampering besides a citation.
Well, in this case, that was the third time we went out there because they removed the meter. It came down to where the third time they had to remove the whole service because that was the third tampering. So that's the reason why he received a citation.
So that is the procedure exactly. If we find tampering or if we do disconnects and the customer turns it back on, we'll remove the meter. If they run a line in between where the meter was supposed to be, we'll pull the tap out. At that point, the customer is going to be liable to pay the new tap fee along with the fine. So we over the years, we have had an issue with this on a yearly basis, maybe 3 or 4 times a year, we'd have properties that would have this problem.
Yes, ma'am. So that was his third occurrence. So that's the reason why he was cited.
The other point that I would like to make to you is that the city's getting better about mitigating some of these situations. In some cases, we don't know how long these people have had water illegally,
right.
But we all have to pay our water bill. So it's only fair to I know there's indigent people out there, but there's also indigent programs that they could, come and talk to us about.
Sure.
We don't want to just, especially if somebody that really needs it, whether it's elderly or something like that, those things can get addressed. But they need to come talk to us. And our city employees and administrators are doing a bit better about, I believe, they've just in this last few months, we're getting better about mitigating those situations.
I have one more question, please. On special report projects, you have a motel that didn't pass the inspection, gave them a deadline of August 9th. And you say up to date, there's been nothing provided with a follow-up. This is August 29th. I don't know when you made the report, but have you gotten an update from them?
I had not received one, but this belongs to the building official. So I do code enforcement. She does the building.
Okay,
So they did have a deadline. I know that she's been making progress, and I know that she talked to her. But as far as a report where I can tell you what the status of it, I don't have that in possession.
okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Because, yeah, they had a deadline of August 9th.
Yes, ma'am. I know she went out there and talked to them, but there's no actual physical report I can hand you.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that a report that we get within our office, or what would be?
The building official will submit it to the permitting clerk.
Okay.
Every update she has, she will file it with her. Yes.
Any questions for?
Just one more thing.
Yes, ma'am.
Is it's important that you sign your report.
Oh, okay.
We know it's your report,
Yes,
but we want to make sure that you submitted this report, so everyone should sign the reports, please.
Okay, yes, ma'am. I'll make sure.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Sure.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Next, we're going to have the water and wastewater.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, and Mr. Wright. For the month of July, the aquifer was at 529 feet. Our demand for the month of July was 33,493,100 gallons with a daily demand of 1.08. An update, we received the parts for the Carrizo bypass project. That's where we're going to utilize the ground storage tank. We plan on doing that here in the next couple of weeks. Right now, we have a project that we're going to work on over by the airport starting Monday. So we'll try to get that in as soon as possible. Then we're also starting our customer service survey, which is needs to be done for TCEQ, which is we go out, we're going to inspect the customer side, if they have PVC, galvanized lead, that is something that is required. So if you see the guys out there on Saturday, they'll be doing that, so we can try to get that done as well. As far as our meter project, we're still waiting to hear approval from the Texas Water Development Board. And also on July 18th, we had a TCEQ water inspection. We had a few minor alleged violations. Alleged violations are just little things that we need to fix. We had an altitude valve on the new water tower that was leaking. It was just little stuff that we repaired within the time that we got the actual letter. So there's still a couple more things that we need to get done, and I've been working on getting quotes so we can get those alleged violations squared away. Anybody has any questions?
Jimmy, I do. Sir, you mentioned that you were going to be doing, maybe working on Saturdays. Is that something that has to be done on a Saturday, or can it be done Monday through Friday? And then we're just doing some follow-ups on Saturday? How is that going to work?
No, if we can do it during the week, we're going to do it during the week. But it's something I would like to get done. It also needs to be done by October. We were hoping to have it done with the meter project, but since the meter project is taking so long to get approved, I'm going to go ahead and get it started. So, like I said, that's something that we need to get done before October. So, we have about 1,800 meters that we need to get. So, right now, I mean, we're short-staffed. So whatever days we can work, we're going to work on to get this completed.
Every property that has a water meter or service going into it, they're gonna have to pothole it on the customer side to see what the customer's line is. The concern is that there may be some lead lines in Cotulla, just like anywhere in Texas. And TCEQ now wants to determine what the profile is of lead within the community. I can tell you now that every 3 years, we do lead and copper sampling. We do a representation of the entire city, and our samples are inconclusive. There's no lead, but they require it, and so we have to do it.
Or are we gonna give notice to the public that they're gonna be working on the meters
Absolutely.
so they can be aware of?
Yes.
On the citizen side, if they have, for example, lead or something, and if they're indigent, are we gonna help them provide so many feet?
Yeah, so two things on that one. I think it was about 6 months ago, we did pass an ordinance allowing the city to do work on private property. They have to sign a release. The motivation was we were doing sewer backups and stuff on private property, and we had no release, and we were getting mud in our face on it. But it has been it was in the ordinance also that we could really help anybody within the community with anything we saw really fit to do as
Right.
far as cleaning property or anything like that. If it's an elderly or disabled person, the ordinance left it to the city administrator to decide on payment. My opinion is that if they need help, we will help them for free. Somebody able-bodied like myself, they're probably going to get some kind of charge if they need help. But we do have that ability now. The second part of it is we did apply for a $400,000 grant for lead service lines. I'm waiting for a reply for that grant also. If we do find any lead, there's going to be money available for us to pay for it to get it fixed through a grant.
Fantastic.
From the house of the owner until the.
That's correct. Everything on the outside of the property.
Fantastic.
As far, and just to touch a little bit on this, because it was EPA had brought it up, and TCQ wants to know how many lead service lines are in the state of Texas. So when this all started, there was a lot of back and forth on who was going to pay for the customer side. And when it first came out, they wanted the cities to go out and dig from the meter all the way up to the house to expose the entire line. And then TCQ came back and made their own and said, no, you only just look to see what's on their side, a foot or so. And then if it's PVC, you go with PVC. So if after that, we don't know what the timetable would be as far as getting that replaced. If there is lead lines in the system, that is still yet to be determined on what the time frame would be. So right now it's just to get a count and see what's out there. Galvanized PVC, hopefully not any lead, but we'll see.
Most of them are galvanized, probably.
Yes, sir. So I know a lot of them have started going to PVC, so that's going to be a big plus. So
It's a good thing about helping out the elderly.
I'm trying to make the case on this grant also that galvanized line, older galvanized, has a content of lead in it.
Correct.
So that $400,000 could be used to replace some of those galvanized lines on customer and city side.
Yeah.
Let's see if it works.
Great. Good.
But before anything, the owner has to give you a consent letter.
Absolutely.
Come on their
Yes.
line. Yeah.
Any other questions on the water report so we can go on to the wastewater report?
Hey, Jimmy, can you speak about the safety meetings we started?
yes, yes, sir. We've had 2 safety meetings we do a monthly safety meeting every month, just to so we can all the employees can be aware of on what to do if certain whatever our topics may be. We did one on heat exhaustion this past month. Sorry, I'm trying to remember what we did.
PPE.
On PPE. So, that way that our employees know what we need. They're out, when they're out there, they're safe about it, and it's also a plus as far as the insurance goes for the city. So it's something that we're gonna continue doing once a month. So we've already set up a time. So after lunch, we all come in, and we'll spend maybe 30 minutes to an hour as far as the safety meeting goes, and it's a good time for employees also to bring up any questions or concerns that they may have. So
Yes, it gets us in front of the employees and find out their concerns. That's one of the main motivations of the
Great.
meeting. So far, employees, there's been an issue. They've asked for first aid kits, and we're working them. We're getting them. I believe the sanitation department was looking for coveralls, for carrying trash, and they don't have that. They just have our standard uniform. It's reasonable. So we're looking at doing it. But, it creates a good atmosphere, and then they get a chance to say, hey, this is what it is. This is what we don't like. This is what we like, and we can learn from each other.
How about Tyvek suits? Have you guys looked into that?
I haven't.
Those are disposable, so you don't have to wash them. Or anything.
Oh, yeah,
When you're done, you just toss out the coverall.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
The paper ones.
So
Yeah.
that topic on safety has always been a big thing with me. Thank you for giving us that update. But my question is that because we had talked to them about PPE, are we providing the proper PPE and enough adequate amounts that they have it accessible to them? And how are we doing that?
So during that specific meeting, I asked the departments if is there anything you needed? Do you have everything that you need? And what came up was the first aid kits. So we ordered 30 first aid kits. Each truck will have one, and it'll have some extras if they need them.
and the day they start, I know, like in I can speak for my department, and I'm pretty sure the others do as well. But when they start, when we do have a new hire, I do go and get them, the basic stuff that we do need, which is gloves, safety glasses. We provide hard hats. Now, if they don't use them, that's on them, and that was one of the questions that was brought up. If you have the PPE and you're not using them, who's at fault? Well, it's going to be the employee, because the employee has been given that proper PPE, and if they're not using it, that's pretty much their fault. But our main, like I had told them, our main goal is for you to go home the way you came. So,
Does every employee use steel toe boots?
yes, sir. And
Does
that
the
way-
city provide boots for them?
Yeah.
We have a $160 allotment for boots per year.
Oh, per year.
So yes, like Mr. Wright said, every year on your hire date anniversary, that you get $160 for boots, for steel toe boots.
And to TCQ, are they all required to wear steel toe, or do they have the option to wear composite as well?
It's actually in the city handbook, and I believe it's in there as steel toe.
My other question to that, and so that you're aware, we've talked to some of the local vendors that have it, and we're trying to keep some of those that money in house instead of going out of town.
That's good.
We ready to go to the wastewater?
On the wastewater, I really don't have very much to report, other than on the wastewater project. When I did do this, when I typed up this report, we had not heard from the engineer as far as asking the contractors to come back and fix a couple of failures that we found, as far as the failures being cave-ins where the trench, where the sewer line was dug. They did fix the ones that we noticed, but after the rain, we noticed some more. So the contractor should be coming back out to repair them, not repair them, but fill in the cave-ins, and we'll have we should hopefully have everything closed out for the next month's meeting. So.
Correct. These current cave-ins that were discovered, we're going to treat that as a warranty issue. And just like Jimmy said, I have payout number 9 approved by engineer, and will be at the next meeting. Retention will be at the meeting after that in October, and then we will totally close out the project.
Those are the big drains, right?
Yes, sir. Out to the airport, the manholes and the sewer line that runs out there.
I know there's one in Martinez Street or two of them. They're kind of caving in.
Yeah, probably, yeah, because that's where they connected was behind the
Yeah.
prison there. That's correct.
Any other questions for Jimmy?
No.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is D, the gas department.
Good evening, City Council, Mayor, Mr. Wright. For the gas department report, the gas leaks, we had one gas leak that was reported and repaired. And those three previous gas leaks, ones I've been telling you, we've had scheduled waiting for parts. The parts came in, we had those three completed. We had 65 locates, and in the month of July, we did have an excavator strike one of our 4-inch mains. We had called Gas Key to come do an emergency repair on that. They hit the line in front of the stripes. They were installing those lamp poles or the traffic light poles with an auger. They hit the line. So in the preventive maintenance, we had 5 meters that were coated to prevent atmospheric corrosion. So I put in there the results of the leak survey. GASC did a leak survey in March. They reported 100 leaks. There was one grade leak reported. The grade 1 leaks are the ones that need to get fixed like immediately. That one was fixed that same day that they called us about it. There was 9 grade 2 leaks. We have those scheduled for repair. And then 90 grade 3 leaks also scheduled for repair. So the grade 3 leaks are not as bad. Most of them are like from old equipment that needs to get replaced. Most of those parts were installed like 60s and 70s. So they're due to get replaced. So we have all the parts we need to fix those in stock. So we're working on it. The grade 2 ones, we have most of the parts for those to get fixed. So they're scheduled and they're going to get fixed hopefully before the end of the year. July 15th, we had a report. It's called the PS95 report that it categorizes all our leaks for the first half of the year. That was turned in on time, and there was 17 reported leaks. And the gas market price for the month of July was $4.92 per cubic foot, and the amount of gas that proceeded to the city gate was 1,697 cubic feet. So that's it for my report. Are there questions?
I had a question.
Yeah.
Going back to that line strike, was there an 811 call initiated before that dig, or?
There was. So they called a normal locate for that. They had 14 days to conduct their excavation. They were 15 days after, so they were a day after. That is a high traffic area, and there's a lot of construction going on from other contractors. So our markings that were there got removed. So they waited 15 days to start. You're supposed to call an update if you go past the 14 days.
So the repairs, the cost, is it going to be covered by them, or is that something the city's taking out?
So what happened is I instructed Mr. Eusebio to call the sheriff's department and make a police report. At that point, we sent a bill to the contractor. I believe it was $4,600 and change to cover the leak, and we actually received that check from the contractor today.
Good deal.
Good job.
Thank you.
Good job.
I have a question, sir. On you're saying that we're starting to get some of these meters replaced that are very old and things like that. Are we keeping any inventory on your gas, specifically because sometimes the hardware store is not going to have your regular stuff that you actually need? Do we have a proactive approach to trying to mitigate some of these timelines?
So they're not the meters that are leaking, just the regulators.
Okay.
I am keeping track of that to where we have a stock now. Before we didn't have a stock. Now we have a stock. When it gets down to a certain number, it alerts me on my computer to go ahead and contact these salesmen to reorder parts, so we don't get to a point where we don't have parts to fix anything. So now we do have parts if emergencies come up to be able to fix those for all the lines that we have in the city. So yeah, I am very proactive on that. You know, I don't want to get into these situations that we were in with this 4-inch line where we don't have the parts. We have to call somebody to come fix it. Now we have parts for almost any emergency that pops up.
The city is now using an in-house made inventory system. One that Juan developed. We are using it at this point.
Great.
So we are keeping a track of our materials, parts, everything that the city owns on the outside.
Great. Great.
Any other questions for both of you?
And that's for water parts, water lines, or just gas parts?
It's for everybody.
Everybody, okay.
We have a count of trucks, we have a count of backhoes, we have a count of everything that we own.
Nice. Great.
So, and I'm gonna say it is still a work in progress. We're not done. I believe he's gonna get a barcode system so that when parts are taken out, they're gonna get scanned and it'll go to his computer and we'll be able to know that it left, who took it,
So
things like that.
so it'll be like a city Walmart.
Yeah. And it'll help us with ordering too. Just like the grocery store.
Yeah.
Walmart.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Right now, we're down to E, streets and parks.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council members, Mr. Wright. We utilized the backhoe and the loader to demolish the Red Store building on Gulf Street. That's completed already. And then we utilized the skid steer to remove grass and dirt from the street curbs on Altavista, Gulf, Buckley, and Thornton Streets. We assisted the water department by cutting grass on several lift stations. Also, the Parks and Recreation repainted the crosswalks between the middle school and elementary on Tilden Street and the corners of the Plaza Florita for the upcoming school year for the children to use them. The Parks and Recreation also cut grass on Martinez Park, Veterans Park, Plaza Florita, and they spread mulch around the flower beds on Center Street. That's my report.
Okay, one thing I want to bring up, the Old Stockman's building, I did receive a quote to finish the floor in there at $5,500. I did approve that quote today. They're going to polish concrete and put a stain sealant on top of the concrete. It will be something that fits the building and it'll look very nice. I've seen some renderings and some pictures of the work that they do and it's beautiful. I've been hesitating. I know I've talked about moving the council meeting to that building. I've been hesitating because of the floor. So now the floor is going to get done. It's a 3-day job and hopefully we'll have that done in the next few weeks. And then we can start to progress to have a council chamber.
They have a chamber, yes.
We will have to change the ordinance also to make that happen, but at least we got progress at this point.
The other thing that it will be used for as well is going to be, we're going to double dip and try to use it for municipal court. If we ever get the policing going and things like that, we would double dip with that. So we could use that as a municipal court type deal for Judge Rodriguez.
I was thinking too, because you have the upstairs that we can utilize there's stuff
For
that we can
office,
do up
yes,
there.
definitely. So some of that is being looked at as well. Robbie, I got a question for you.
Yes,
Is the brush area your department? Or
Yes,
that-
it is.
Okay. And I think we were trying to get rebids or something like that on that
It will be on
mulching.
the next council meeting.
It'll be on the next council meeting,
Yes,
okay?
I'm getting the bid and I took some, actually, Juanita, the code enforcement officer, helped me out with some pictures.
I would like you to know that I went to the Middle Rio Grande Department, and this has to do with this. And I was able to meet with some of the mayors that are there that offer the cog and things like that. Crystal City, we had a conversation about brush, and what they do on either a monthly basis or every other month is they burn that brush. And they said that they had the TCQ blessing on it. TCQ is the safety. And in conjunction with the fire department and things like that, that's how they were able to mitigate some of that cost. I don't know if that's something we might look at just to see if
I'll
the
talk to
council
Mr.
is
Wright
interested in
about
it.
that. One time we
Yeah,
talked
good
about
idea.
called
You know?
TCQ for the
Yeah.
air quality or something.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's going to be something there. I've been several times and seen that pile, but I went out recently with Robbie, and it's as big as this building. It
It's
is
big.
huge.
And you got to keep in mind that the county, which helps us a lot, I mean, thank you to the commissioners. I mean, they pick up brush on Wednesdays, like, man, they're like ants coming back and forth. So,
Yeah,
but they help us a lot.
Very
But yeah,
impressive. And I'm very concerned about it igniting. and then
I
you have
know,
a
right?
brush in the area, and you have your airport in the area.
I know.
So definitely.
So it might not be that something that we want to do right now with the winds or anything, but it is something to consider and something to visit. I mean, if they got that TCQ, blessing and are able to do it, and maybe we reach out to our sister cities and find out, okay, how do you do that?
Yeah.
And that was Crystal City.
Crystal City.
Okay. I'll reach out
It was
to
Mayor
Crystal City.
Frank, I forgot his last name, but it was Frank out of Crystal City, he was the mayor. Any questions for Mr. Thomas?
No.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Thomas.
you.
Thank you.
Next is F, sanitation.
Good evening, Mayor, Councilman, Mr. Wright. In your package, you have my July 2024 monthly report. There was a total of 44 total trips done by the City of Cotulla roll-up driver. 43 were to the landfill in Laredo. 1 was to the Orchestra Meadow in Carrizo Springs. As we've done before, you have the tonnage and the pounds of what came out of the compactors, which is trash from the commercial and residential, transfer station, and the metal. We did have 2 rentals for the month of July. One was on Front Street. That was for 3.88 tons, 7,760. The customer did pay for fee and delivery charges. And we also had another one on Guadalupe Street. Customer also paid for delivery fee and fees. 2.96, 5,920 pounds. As Mr. Thomas explained, the restore has been completed, but as far as my containers, that hasn't. We just believe last week was the last one that we transported out of there, out of the transfer station. So I do not have a complete tonnage and pounds of how much came out of the restore. But what I can give you is what came out from the restore in the month of July. I can't give you August until next council meeting, and I'll put those totals with this totals, and I'll give you a grand total of everything put together. But for July, 74.72 tons, 149,460 pounds of for 10 containers from the restore. That's just for July. We still had, I believe, all the way to mid-August or a little bit after August. So I'll give you the total amount on that. Also, the new City of Cotulla decals on the containers project has started. It's just the emblem of the City of Cotulla. We started with we had about 200, I believe about 125 have been placed on the containers, marking our containers as the City of Cotulla on them. We haven't finished that project, but we're still working on it. We are looking at October 19th, subject to change, just in case something happened, but we're looking at October 19th for our last cleanup Trashorama of the year. It will be on a Saturday on October 19th.
And the location?
Plaza Florita.
Mel, I have a question on the transfer station. Because we've been talking about TCQ, and I'll hit you up with this one too.
Okay.
Are we in compliance with TCQ there? And are we? Do we have the proper? Do we have our employees with proper PPE, as in hazmat material? Sometimes they get exposed to chemicals unawares to some people. Do we have cleanup material to be able to mitigate those, remediate the situations?
On a monthly basis, I do go to O'Reilly's in the restore and I buy material for the attendants that are out there so they can have for cleaning purposes. I have provided the attendants with boots. Again, like going back to Mr. Jimmy was saying earlier, I bought them material. They don't use it, but they have it. It's in the office. The materials is in there.
The materials, meaning for cleanup and stuff like that? Or
Yes, well, the cleanup material they use, but as
Okay.
far as PPE, as we were saying, they do have the PPE
Yeah, because
accessible
I know
to
some
them.
of that stuff that they get on themselves can pretty easily ruin clothing.
Yes, ma'am.
And so my concern is that too. My other concern is, and having a little familiarity with this when I worked in the riverbanks of Laredo, some of that stench is very bad. And I know Fabuloso doesn't kill that. Do they have proper deodorizers that actually mitigate some of that? Because I smelled, last time I went, I'm not telling you why I say it. Last time I went, I smelled Fabuloso, and mixed up with what smelled there was horrible.
Yes.
I know that there's I know that there's deodorizers out there that eat up some of those smells and things like that,
Enzymes.
and like,
It's
they're-
called enzymes.
At one point, we were purchasing an industrial deodorizer that we would use for the wastewater and the sanitation. I haven't seen in quite a while a requisition come to me asking for that product. But it is available and they can purchase it. They just got to bring it.
At one point or another, I believe that could take those. And this is a while back, I believe, before your administration. I believe the expense of that one was getting too high, so we looked for another alternative at that time. But I'm more than willing to go back to that. At the current time,
It worked great.
It worked great.
The odorine and we would buy granular acid.
Correct, we had that.
And granular chlorine, which we still purchase on a monthly basis, but I don't know if you're utilizing it anymore as you were before.
Especially in those containers.
Yes, the transfer station is cleaned daily, so it doesn't go 2 or 3 or 4 days without being cleaned. But the trash is coming in daily as well, and I'm meaning the truck trash, not the citizen, because that's only open on Wednesdays and Saturdays. And the trash is picked up 6 days out of the week, with the exception of Sunday. So the attendance does clean it. If he's on vacation or he's somewhere else, I take the initiative, and I'm out there half a day cleaning all the machete and all the sludge and the whole 9 yards, so that smell won't get worse, I guess.
So from the time that Mel started, there's been a complete transformation of that site.
And I see it. I go out,
Completely
I go there often. But my concern is always that safety of that employee and that we mitigate those situations. And we have TCQ, right? That our governing who gives us all the safety stuff.
Yes.
We're not under OSHA. That's fine. But TCQ is right as good as restrictive as we need as well, if we're following it.
Yes, as far as the employee, well, as far as your question, we are with TCQ. The employee, right, which you're referring to is my attendance, he does ask for little more things than, they're out of the bubble that there's no need for. But when there is a chance, I do go ahead and get what he needs to make his job a little bit easier. But I do offer him and buy him everything that he needs. But if it came to what he needed, the sanitation will be in more. He wanted a riding lawnmower, a zero track out there. I don't see the purpose of a zero track out there. There's not enough grass for a zero track, but he wanted the sanitation department to get him a zero track tractor out there, But if I give in to everything he wants, was
what fixes this issue, because I'm hearing it between all the departments, is we need to have a standardized policy that the city enforces, and that we should also have an inventory of specific items, and that's what we should stick to. So I think that's something that we may need to work on here pretty soon in the future, because I am hearing, we buy this, we get that, but there's no policy. So it's like, they'll use it or they won't use it. So
we also have a power watcher accessible to him.
I wasn't suggested on the, your PPE. That's something that needs to be enforced, not just
right.
Exactly.
We have to have SOPs.
Yeah.
Right.
Standard operation procedures in place for every department in general.
And some of those guidances, just for reference, just so you know, OSHA had already worked on it. You don't have to rethink the box. Because we don't fall under OSHA doesn't mean that we can't follow some of their guidance. So that's already accessible to you.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, we're good. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, on a different note, just wanted to give you a little bit of references here of as far as the sweeper for the up to probably last week from the 4th of July. Some of the streets would like to share with you: Buckley, Hidalgo, Saltillo, Matamoros, Corporal Pedro Gonzalez, Goff Street, Stadium Drive, Baker, Guadalupe, Center Street, Carrizo, Tilton, the City Park, the Plaza Florita, Frill Street, Nueces Street, Baylor Street, Front Street, Medina Street, Southwest Lane Street, Dolby Street, and Mendez Street have been swept in the up to last week.
And that's another thing that Mel does. He's
Yes,
the one that
correct.
operates the sweeper along with operating the whole department.
And does that sweeper take certification? And do we have more than one person certified?
It doesn't take a certification, and as far as certified, no.
It's only you, so the other employee didn't do the training.
No, he never came by.
All right.
We had the training. The other employee wasn't there that day. He was out, and he only came that time.
Any other questions for Mr. Martinez? Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Next is G, and that's going to be animal control. Mr. Gonzalez?
Good evening, council, mayor, Mr. Wright. For the month of July, I had a total of 12 work orders. I had 1 dog adopted, 0 that was surrendered, a total of 8 that were rescued, 10 animals that were dead picked off at the streets, 5 euthanized, 6 dogs that were picked up off the streets, 6 animals caught in traps, 2 of them that were cats and 4 that were chickens. Kennels are clean and sanitized daily. Animals are fed daily. The water is changed daily, and grass is cut around the shelter and surrounding area. That's all I have for this month.
Were we able, David, to mitigate some of that? I know we had a flea infestation for a little bit. Did that work?
So it's been going good so far. So still,
those cow tags worked out.
Yeah, so far.
Oh.
But other than that, I just wanted to throw out there, if you ever see me or see the truck parked somewhere and you don't see me in there, it's because I'm hunting dogs. They see the truck and they freak out. So I gotta, kind of be incognito and stuff like that. So I throw it out.
It's hilarious because the dogs know the truck.
Yeah.
And he goes driving down the road and they're, but if I drive my car down the road, they're chasing my tires. It's crazy.
Yeah, so I get good pictures of it. Like yesterday, I walked a pig home for 2 blocks.
Oh my.
I domesticated a deer. So yeah. Other than that, yeah.
Any questions for David?
Yeah. No. Thank you.
Thank you, David. All right. Now we're going to go on to Main Street.
Good evening, Council, Mayor, Mr. Wright. So in July, I focused on booking everything for the Hispanic Festival. So we do have 4 bands. We brought something for the kids to do because everybody always wants something for the kids to do. So there'll be a foam party is what they call it. And it's just people, they set up their machine. It's a really big machine and it just like throws out a bunch of bubbles. They'll be there for 2 hours for the kids to enjoy that. We booked the sound and light, and then Mr. Mito Ramirez reached out to me asking me if we needed a DJ, and he was willing to donate his services. So of course I took that because that saves us money. So I said yes. Main Street Board.
I'm sorry, Jen, and when is that?
The Hispanic Festival, September 21st. Our Main Street Board, we have 5 people on the board. I did attempt to have my first meeting last month, but only 1 person showed up. So hopefully next month will go better. I didn't reach out to them, and then they said for me to text them. That'll be a better reminder. So I'll try that. Let's see.
Just have a question on the meeting. Is that something that can be done over Teams or Zoom? I know some people, are busy and may not be able to make it in person.
I don't know actually.
Is that an option, or does it have to be in person?
I can ask the person, Amy Hammond. She's the one that I.
Yeah, you can ask them, but that is an advisory board. So
we
I
have
think
to, it has to be in person?
No, you may be able to do it that way also. So there is an agenda formed and all that, but it's still an advisory board. So it may be possible.
And is it up, and you think it's maybe a timing? What time was there?
6:30 in the evening.
6:30 in the evening?
And I know, like 3 of these people that I have on the board, they did say that the later time would be better because they used to do it like at noon, at 12.
And who are your members?
I have Marisela Ayala, Jeronima Garza, Pepa Garza, Thomas Gonzalez, and Genevieve Espasa. And then, so our upcoming events will be the vaccine drive. I gave y'all the flyer. The grand opening for the LaSalle Western store. We'll be there at 10 if you guys want to participate in that also. And then, of course, the Hispanic Fest on September 21st.
And Jen's being a little shy, I believe, but that Main Street event participated in the Brush Country Chamber did very well. It was a very good turnout. We're looking for more people to be participating next year. The kids were able to get a lot of goodies for school. And her and Georgia was there and Bianca, and it was a very good turnout. So that was really good. It kind of everybody was separate and it all came together. So that was a good job.
Yes, thank you. Any questions?
You're good?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And now we come back to accounting. Mr. Garcia.
Hello again, Council, Mayor, Mr. Wright. We're gonna get started with the sales tax collection report. August collected $201,498. On the next page, we're gonna find the hotel motel occupancy tax collection. So for the month of July, total collection $122,392. Are there any questions on the first two reports? Okay, so let's go to page 6 on the statement of revenue and expenditures. So it's gonna be 6 and 7. So total revenue for the general fund year to date, $2,740,012. Total expenditures, $2,435,068, which gives us a net income of $304,944. On page 10 and 11, we're going to find the water and sewer year-to-date totals. So year-to-date total for the water and sewer, total revenue, $1,822,544. On the next page, you're going to see the total expenditures, $1,341,564, which is a net income of $460,979. On page 13, we're going to find the municipal gas fund. So municipal gas fund total revenue year to date $278,260. Total expenditures $253,449, which gives us a net income of $24,811. On page 15, we're going to find the solid waste totals. For the solid waste department, total revenue $694,786. Total expenditure $742,566, which is a net loss of $47,780. The last report that is attached is going to be the month of July check register. Are there any questions about anything that we covered?
No, sir. Thank you. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
All right, on to number 6. We need to, you have the minute for Thursday, July 11th, 2024. Is there any questions or anything did you find any errors on that, on those minutes? for approval? Okay. Do I have a motion to go ahead and vote on it? Approving the minutes?
I'll start taking.
Mr. Garcia, motions, and second by Manuel. Everybody who is in favor of approving the minutes for July 11, 2024, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carried. All right, next is ordinances, resolutions to be approved. The discussion and possible action, this is number 7, discussion and possible action of resolution number R08292024-001, adopting the City of Cotulla Hazard Mitigation Plan dated November 2023.
So this is a plan that was designed by CDM Smith, Stacy Barna. She had every intention of coming to the meeting on the original meeting date. She was not able to make this meeting. This plan is about 2.5 years in the works. The city got a grant of $90,000 to complete the plan through TEDM, that's Texas Emergency Management. This plan was a prerequisite for the generator project and grant that we are trying to get through TEDM also, which is a $2.4 million grant. Those generators will be able to place at 2 of our water wells, and then when we have power outages, they will supply power to our water plants. We're ahead of the game. The COG for the area is just barely starting the plan. These plans have to be completed before they can go after any grant money through TEDM. This plan is exactly as it says. It's a hazardous mitigation plan. So your weather, your bacteriological or your chemical hazards within the city, this plan pretty much covers all those things, gives the city a roadmap on how to handle different disasters. It also has recommendations on our weaknesses. And in those weaknesses, it gives us a map to get more grants. So where we have a weakness, we can go to TEDM and say, hey, help us. And we can get money from them to fix that area. When this started off, we had quite a few meetings with the community, stakeholders within the community, Sheriff's Department, LaSalle County Fire, County Judge, and just general stakeholders. And everyone gave their opinion on what they thought the hazards were in Cotulla. Obviously, the big one for me is the drought, the train, chemicals coming through our town, things like that. It's a very good document for us. I can't say that we have never had this document. There was a prior document that was done by Middle Rio Grande. That one expired in 2018, which was a representation of the entire county. When we talked to TEDM and we were looking for grant money, they said, well, that one expired 2018, you got to make your own. At that time, there was an election and the city opted to do it on their own. So we have it here, and this plan has been sitting with FEMA. FEMA approves the plan. The prerequisite of current approval is for the council to approve the resolution. They gave us a time frame. They gave us 29 days, and we're within that time frame. The actual grant, I'm almost certain that after this is approved, it's going to be a matter of weeks before we're awarded. This is what they're waiting for. So,
any discussion? Any motion to go ahead and approve or put to the vote?
I'll motion.
Garcia motion.
Second.
Mr. Ayala seconds the motion. Go ahead.
If anybody in the community or council would like to see the plan, I will have it on display at City Hall. Anybody can come in and take a look at it. I do have it here.
Great.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask.
On question on the flood plain, I know it's approved for people that want to buy insurance.
Yes.
For non-flood areas.
Yes, it is approved. The approval letter that they sent to us, I saw a tentative date of October.
So it's effective October.
It's effective October 2024. So after that, they'll be able to give that document to the insurance companies, and the insurance companies should lower their rates.
Yeah.
So.
It's on Stadium Drive and all those houses right there in that area.
So there was actually 500 properties within the floodplain that were removed. So if anybody's financing a house or just generally have flood insurance on their house, they should be able to omit it from those 500 properties that were taken out of the floodplain. But I know over the years, as Mr. Dovalina has explained, our floodplain went all the way up to Mel's, where Mel lives at. It's like all the way uphill. It was the floodplain. You know, all that's been removed, and it's been really isolated to the river. So it helps a lot of people in our community, for sure.
Especially in the city side.
That's right, on the city. And I meant the Mustang Creek, not
Yeah.
the river. I apologize
And
for that.
we're almost to that point where we can close out some of that. So the city back in the day, I guess, has started buying some of those properties that are right there on Mustang Creek. We're kind of getting ready to close the last property, looks like.
That's correct.
So to try to mitigate those situations, at that point, we might start looking at trying to get a grant to get that paved or, something.
There's
And ready
one-
for the next flood.
Sorry.
That's okay.
There's one property that was not acquired by the city. Reason for the city not acquiring it is that there was an IRS lien on the property. So I am going to ask Mr. Payne to open lawsuit to see if we can get that cleared up and we can purchase that property.
Is all those properties that the city bought and part of the government, are they gonna be fenced in?
I do know there's a partial fence there,
Yeah.
and there has been no plan to complete it. Eventually, I believe that we should on both sides.
Just in case, and we ever have a big rain or something floods and
Correct.
people get in there and they get swiped up by the water or something.
Correct. We'll definitely look at it, and I can start getting some quotes and bring it to council. I'm sure it's going to be pretty costly to do it.
Yeah.
So we'll take a look at it.
Any other discussion? No. All right, so do I have a motion to vote to approve or to
There
vote
was-
on this?
There was already a motion.
We
and a
already
second.
have, we did a second.
Okay. So here is the question. All who are in favor of passing number 7, discussion and possible action and resolution to adopt a city Cotulla mitigation plan dated November 2023. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion approved.
One. Jeff Snowden.
So number 8 is we're waiting for a Zoom, right?
Yeah, let me make a phone call to him.
I sent him the link.
Excuse me.
Mayor, if he's unavailable, you can always skip the item and come back to him later if he's
Thank you,
at a
sir.
later time in the evening.
So in the meanwhile, let's go ahead and go to number 9. If everybody's okay with that, we're going to go ahead and have a discussion and possible action to approve business case analysis letter of interest submitted by
Yes, sir, I can do
Snyder
that.
Electric.
So, 1 second.
Sir, thank you. How you doing?
Thank you, Mayor, City Council, and Mr. Wright. Thank you for having us here today. What I'm going to be presenting today is some information and hopefully get approval to move forward to try to support the city with a program that we're supporting many cities, counties, universities, and school districts with. We approached, my name's Aaron Garcia, by the way, for the record, and I'm from the McAllen area, but I've worked for Schneider Electric, and I cover the San Antonio, down south all the way to the Rio Grande Valley, Corpus Christi. I'm the account executive for our company. So what I'm going to do is tell you a little bit about who we are, what we've been doing, what our specialty is, and what we'd like to do for the city. So Mr. Wright was familiar with us because we have a partnership. We've been involved with the city or with Eagle Pass Waterworks for several years now. And we've met him and seen him at the water conferences at Eagle Pass. I passed out a one-page flyer that you should have here and some of the information we'll cover that's in here. But the one thing that we do that's unique, and it touches several things that y'all discussed earlier, is one is finding creative ways to come in and find inefficiencies throughout the city, to optimize different areas and utilize utility savings through, and similar to what Mr. Wright mentioned earlier on the LED lighting project that y'all would like to do with AEP, where you calculate the savings and look at, whether it's feasible or not to do a project like that and what the payback would be. So what we do is we work with a lot of our municipal cities on their buildings, the water, wastewater side of things. We come in and look at the inefficiencies throughout the city, and then we come back and calculate what those savings would be, similar to what Mr. Wright said, like on the LED lighting. And then we try to, our number one focus is try to come back with a full self-funded project that we can develop that would pay for itself to upgrade all the facilities, whether it's buildings at the water, wastewater, water infrastructure. So we look at that, we put together a report and come back and try to justify saying, if you do these projects, you need to do them anyway. Everything that we're going to be looking at is end of life equipment, or expectancy is pretty soon that it's going to be already at its end of life. So what we do is try to justify the purpose of moving forward with the project to upgrade all these facilities, utilizing savings, and then we also look at grant opportunities, low interest loans that are out there as well. There's Mary, you mentioned earlier about solar. There's there's opportunities right now through the federal government, through the investment tax credit, to bring funding to help support that goal, if that's a goal for you in the city, to bring renewable type energy towards some of your facilities. So on the bottom of this page here, it kind of outlines some of the things that the process that we work with. So what we do is we come in through a business case analysis, which is pretty much what we call a preliminary audit or business case. We look at the facilities, try to come back within 3 to 4 months. We'll be back and give you a report on what your current state of the city is of the facilities that we looked at. Then once we've provided that overview, you will decide, the city has the option to decide whether to move forward into the next step. And the next step would be the design phase, similar to when you would bring an engineer or architect in to start designing and putting these projects together. That would be that next stage there. And then once we've finalized that design, then it's time to go into the construction phase. But the whole project is either self-funded, or it would be offset the cost of the project as well with the savings and operational savings as well from utilities and operational savings. If you turn to the back of this page, this gives you some references on some of the customers that we've worked with. If you look at, we've worked with many nationwide. We have projects going on nationwide. This is the Texas market references. This is just a snapshot of them, but it tells you, for example, like Travis County, that project consisted of $27 million project, but the annual savings was $2.8 million per year. So over the period of a 15 to 20 year period, this project paid for itself completely. Also, you can see we've done small projects to large projects. So we find from hundreds of thousands of dollars in savings a year to millions of dollars a year in savings. So typically we find about 20 to 50% of the utility cost savings is what we typically find, somewhere in that range. So what we're proposing is allow us to come in, no cost, no obligation. That's what I had to discuss with Mr. Wright to allow us, it'll take us about 3 months to put this together. We'll come back and present what our recommendations are for your some of the projects that we identify that need to get done throughout the city. So with that, I'll open it up to any questions.
Any questions, Councilman?
So Snyder Electric, I have seen them for many years at conventions, educational courses. They've been a very big supporter of municipalities, water and wastewater. I was very interested, especially if it's free and we can get information and data. You know, that was the number one trigger for me. And then in the future, we can move forward and do things that'll save us money. Right now, the city's light bills are around $38,000 a month. And if we can cut that, then we're cutting a lot of money. So I think
You have to do a study with it before you start, you know, if we would
That's
go ahead
correct.
and go with that.
Yeah, and that's what this is. It's
A study?
A study.
Okay.
We call it a business case or preliminary audit. So we're going to come in, look at the facilities. We're going to be asking your departments to give us utility information from water, electric, gas. We'll look at the bills, and then we'll have our engineers come and spend about a day, probably a day and a half or so. Depending on what Mr. Wright wants to focus on, it may be shorter than that. It could be just 1 day. Just to take a look at the facilities that maybe are your biggest users of utility costs, which usually that's your wastewater plant and the water plant. So we'll take a look there and then come back with some recommendations on what you can do. And then if you decide you want to move to that next phase, that's whenever an actual contract will take place.
Right.
You'll have the option to put out a request for qualifications, because under the government code of procurement that we fall under, it's a request for qualifications. Or we're also an approved vendor through, and we've already gone through the qualifications through cooperative purchasing programs. So you'll have that choice. You can either, if you're happy with what we've brought forward, you can go that route, or you can put an RFQ together and put it out for bid.
Will this be like a fixed rate or a off and on rate?
Yeah. Well, I think you're thinking of the electricity rate.
Yes.
So what we're looking at is equipment, all the facilities equipment, from air
The whole
conditioning,
volume.
lighting, your pumps, motors. We're going to be looking at anything that uses electricity.
Yeah.
That's what we're going to be looking at. We're going to look at that, all the equipment throughout the city, or we're going to meet with Mr. Wright first, see what we want to focus on first. And then we'll come back and say, hey, well, based on your utility cost, this equipment needs to be changed out. Our projections show that you can shave off X amount per year on your utility costs. And you might have, let's say, $1 million worth of work that needs to get done. But if we can cut it by 20, 30%, and what we do is, under this program, we have to guarantee whatever we come back with. And once we get into the design phase, and we'll come back right before the construction starts, we're going to present a firm fixed price on what the project would cost. And then we're going to tell you what that savings would be. And we have to guarantee those savings. So if we say you're going to save, let's say $100,000 a year on savings by doing the projects that we recommend, if at the end of the year, by law, it has to be measured and verified. If we're short on those savings, Schneider has to cut a check to the city or to the customer for the shortfall. So let's say we only hit 90,000. So now we owe you $10,000. So all the risk for doing the work falls on us to come back and prove that whatever we said and designed,
It's a guarantee.
It's a guarantee that it's going to work.
So like theoretically, having the entire wastewater plant run on solar, there's a huge savings. But those are the type of things he's going to look at and look for and see if it's possible. You know, things like that.
Does it include buildings?
Yeah, we can look at the buildings.
Because we got a lot of roof here, and this building doesn't pay for itself. You know, we have several buildings and stuff like that have a lot of roofing. We have a lot of sun here that might be sometime, you know.
We are also applying for an LED grant, and I put this building in it.
Good.
So hopefully it works out.
In reference to the solar, there's the investment tax credit right now covers if y'all were to move forward with like a solar project for, you know, your biggest user would, and it probably makes sense, would be at the wastewater plant. There's a starting at 30%, but this area falls under an area that that you would qualify up to 50% reimbursement from the federal government. So if the project is $1 million project, you're going to get 50% of that paid back by the federal government for doing that type of project. That's something we definitely would look at.
Councilman, any other questions? We're ready for the question. Do I have a motion to vote on this?
I make a motion that we move forward with the analysis from Schneider, since it's no cost for us. Move forward.
The second motion? All right. So the question is in discussion and to approve the business case analysis letter of interest submitted by Schneider. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mayor, who was the second motion?
Mr. Rodriguez.
Testing, 1, 2, testing. Do y'all have me on mute? Question mark.
We can't hear you, Jeff.
Testing, 1, 2. Can you hear me now?
No.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Can't hear you, sir.
Hello? I can hear y'all. Can you hear me?
No. It's all good.
David, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
No, can't hear you.
I'm not sure what's happening. Testing, 1, 2.
Is it full?
Yeah, you could try
That's fine.
just put him on the audio.
Testing, 1, 2. Hello, David. I can hear y'all, but I guess you can't hear me.
No, so that was
No, sir. I'll mute and then unmute. And now I'm unmuted. Testing, 1, 2.
Okay.
Sure.
Can you hear it all?
David, can you hear me?
I can hear you, David.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I'm going to. Now, testing, 1, 2, testing. Mayor, remember, prepare a great study for supporting you might recall a few weeks ago, it was in the name of you guys.
I'm getting a lot of interference, Jeff.
I'm going to turn
computer off, just talk on the phone.
All right. You're gonna have to speak up a little bit too, Jeff, okay?
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Loud and clear.
Okay, thank you. Sorry for the technical issues. I prepared a rate study for water and wastewater and presented to your team a few weeks ago where I recommended an average annual increase on the residential combined water of about $2.68, so that the current bill of $52.74 would increase to $55.36 in year one and so forth for 5 years. I have revised that slightly after looking at your adopted budget and your proposed debt to where I'm recommending a slightly larger increase of $3.25 total, so that the current bill of $52.74 would go to $55.83 on October 1. And then each October 1 thereafter would go up by $3.55. As presented to you recently, this would still result in the city having the lowest water rates of the entire regional period of some of the rest of the state. For example, if the inflation rate after 5 years, the average bill would increase to $69.01 for 10,000 gallons a month user, but the average is $110 a year. $20 for the average. To do that after the transition, the average rate to the rate 900%. So I've got similar for your commercial, your day and for your outside city limits customers. All are very modest and all work together to bring your water services to a state of self-funding sufficiency without any need for subsidy from the general fund, which is currently how you're able to make it. You have to right now lean on the general fund to subsidize. So I've prepared a rate ordinance for your consideration. I believe your council has reviewed that and hopefully concurs with the content. And I'm glad to answer any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Snowden?
No. I wanna know one thing in here. I'm trying to get to it. There's a fee schedule. You might want to take a look at the fee schedule. Your standard tap rate. There's two things that changed on there. Your tap rate for a standard tap has gone from the $500 water to $700. The reason for that is the cost of material has increased since 2017 a whole lot. The other thing on there is before we had a during hours and after hours reconnect fee, and it was a $75 fee in the past. I believe, Jeff, it's been lowered to $25. Is that correct?
I believe that is correct.
So we're going from 75
to 25
for reconnection.
Correct. So if you had what was happening is that if you had a disconnect in the community because they did for non-payment, essentially they were being charged another month's bill just to reconnect it.
Okay.
And our feeling was that was too much.
Steve?
So we put it back to $25 and make it more comparable.
And living in an indigent community, that really helps out a lot. If not, they're always gonna be robbing Peter to pay Paul just to catch up.
Correct.
And on the 750 to the 500 difference, is that because of the material went up or what?
Absolutely. Yes, the price of pipe, price of everything's going up. And the bad word is COVID again and inflation. So our old ordinance, our whole price list, everything we had in ordinance was so far out of date that we got to the point where we were charging costs to the customer only without the labor where they had this type of repair or any kind of extension on lines or anything like that, because the city was losing a lot.
And the country hasn't come forth with the supply and demand. They haven't caught up.
No, gas department's
And
one of
that's
the ones.
from a new tap. I mean, you're putting a new line. I mean, a new meter.
Correct.
How about if there's a previous meter already there?
If it's already in place,
like a rental house, for
Correct.
example.
So there's a policy that if a property has a tap and the tap, we know that we installed it before, we're not charging a tap fee again. So we know that tap's there. If the tap's damaged, we replace it. We compensate with rate for that. So that's how we tend to do that. They've already paid for it once. We don't ask for it to be paid for again. If we come to a property that has never had a tap, then they charge that.
Like
we
a new
charge that
house,
fee.
for
Correct.
example.
Then we charge that fee.
Anything else you have?
When you say that we're in the same rate as other cities, what cities are you talking about? Around the 100-mile range or?
Yeah,
150?
100-150 mile range. Jeff, do you want to answer that one?
Sure. In the current peer group that I'm applying in the study, I have Lytle, Pearsall, Fremont, Carrizo Springs, Dilley, Del Rio, Three Rivers, Jertonton, Asherton, Pleasanton, Natalia, and Alice.
What number do we come out of those?
We're the cheapest.
We're the cheapest.
Second
By
most
a
cheap.
pretty significant margin.
On commercial, we're second. On residential, we're the cheapest.
So he had a graph last time, Gilbert, when, I think you had to be out.
Yeah.
And it showed that we were like way on the bottom, even with this rate study, even with, we're still not gonna be where everybody
Yeah.
else is at.
I think that's good. I mean, I'm satisfied with it. I mean, everything's going up, so we have to adjust.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions for Ty?
Yeah.
No.
One
No,
more
go
thing
ahead.
real quick. The other factor is Texas Water Development Board. They've been in communication with us a lot, me and Tres both. And pretty much they're telling us we need to raise it. You know, and I know you understand the circumstance of the loan and the contract that you have with Texas Water Development Board, but they came in just this week, you know, and they were asking a lot of questions about, they see that we're at a $400,000 deficit, you know, and when they see those kind of things, they kind of want to start pushing harder to come in and do what they want to do.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what's happening. And we have to remind them that the city has paid their debt obligation every year ever since we took out debt with them with no lateness. But they say, well, what we see here,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
you're gonna default. Well, we do everything we can not to default,
Right.
you know.
Percent that don't have a rate. So it puts you in a strong position.
Anything else? Jeff, we're good.
No.
Do we have any other questions? Thank you for your time.
Thank you all for allowing me to be of service to the city.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, Jeff.
Buy a new computer.
Bye.
Okay, this isn't Atari.
Thank you, Jeff.
Nice, thanks.
So any other discussion to approve this ordinance?
I make a motion.
You make a motion?
Second.
Second, guys, put myself down to make some comments.
That was on the Plaza Florita, sir.
Yeah, is this on? Is this what we're talking about?
No, not yet.
No, not yet.
Not yet?
That's the next one. Let me get this vote and then I'll get you up there. Thank you. All right, so we have the motion to vote on it. All in motion to approve this discussion on this ordinance 0829-2024-002. Say aye.
Aye.
Motion to deny. Ordinance passes. Okay, so we're all in order again now. We're number 10, right?
Yes.
Okay. This is discussion and possible action to award CK Construction with the Plaza Florita restroom and parking facility project based on the recommendations of Frank, is that Architects?
Architect.
Architects for a bid of $100,000 Is it a million?
1 million.
1,157,000. I went, 1,157,143.50. Okay. Do we want to go ahead and have allow Mr. Zamora to
Yeah, I think it's better Mrs. Zamora first.
and then we can have a discussion, and then we'll go to the.
Mr. Solis is also here for a presentation.
Okay. The 3 minutes, Mr. Zamora, you have 3 minutes to present your discussion.
A couple historical information. We've been working on the Plaza Florita development for quite a while. It's been probably a couple years. And a lot of work has been put into it in identifying what we want. This started with Mr. Dovalina, and we have a committee, and I've come before you just to make sure that I'm still the chairman of that committee. And I have a lot of concerns on the monies that are being spent. I have a lot of questions. I haven't been involved, even though I have asked for participation and to let me know, so I can be part of the planning and making sure that what we have identified as what we want to see historically is going to happen. Nobody has shared any plans. Nobody has called the committee. So we haven't, we're oblivion to whatever we're dealing with right now. So one is my recommendation at this time, if we want to be fair to the decisions that have been made, because I think that it's a lack of respect and to lead people to believe that they're going to be part of something and then just deprive them of that participation. I think one of my expertise is construction. And I see the prices that we are putting out. We approved, I think, 750,000. My question is, where is that money and what has been done with it? Another one is a parking lot. Depending on what it is, if it's going to be concrete, it's going to be asphalt, but no parking lot is going to cost over $1 million. So, and again, I'm building a facility, 50 by 60 complete for $600,000. That includes the foundation and the parking lot, electricity, and everything. It's a turnkey. So when I look at these figures, I think that there's a better way of doing business. See, and one is the fact that, again, that's why I joined this committee, because the Plaza Florita means a lot to our future as far as the history of this town is concerned. So my recommendation at this time that you allow me and some of the committee, and I think that we're going to have to restructure the committee, but I think that maybe some of the councilmen women should be part of this planning and awareness. So I would recommend at this time, if you want to give me the courtesy that you decided to give us, in the past, to table this at this time and bring us to par and inform us and let us be part of whatever the future calls on. And I assure you that we can reduce that amount of money. The other question is, do we have approximately $2 million in that account? That's a lot of money. And I think that we can do a better job of preserving those resources.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. David, you want to touch on that?
Mr. Solis is going to talk about it.
Okay, good.
Hey, Rick, would you like to come up there?
Well, I was talking about some of the background. Not responding. Okay, good.
Yeah. Rick, can you mention quantitative bidding and what we've done to reduce the price?
Sure. Good evening, Mayor, council members, Mr. Wright. Rick Solis with principal and partner with Frank Architects. So this bid that we're presenting to you today was from a contractor out of San Antonio called CK Construction. On July 16th, we did receive bids. This is actually the third time we've put this project out for bids. We only received one bidder. We did receive a lot of interest, but at the end of the day, we can't force contractors to want to bid on projects. The initial bid that we received was for $1,472,593. The very first bid that we received was roughly in the same range. So by analyzing that, we understand that that price is probably accurate for what the facility is. Now, it's not just a parking lot. It's a parking lot. It's a plaza for the new statue that's currently being designed, or we already have it.
It's now on display at City Hall.
Yes.
The statue of Florence Wolfberger.
Yeah. So it's a plaza. There's a lot of stone pavers. I mean, it's going to be a very nice amenity, including restroom facilities and parking lots. So there's a reason why there's some costs there, right? But in any case, once we received the bids, we did have a follow-up meeting with the people from CK Construction. Mr. Ben Soto is here today, also with CK Construction. And we essentially went through a value engineer process to see what we could do to bring that cost down, because we knew that was just too much. I mean, so working with them in hand, we were able to reduce about $315,000 from their price. A lot of that was some street work that we're proposing to do that the city said, we could probably take that on at a later date. It's really not essential to the facility. Furthermore, we also, deleted some items, a water heater. We changed the flooring type. We did a lot of things to try to bring that cost down. So the cost that's brought to you all today, the $1,157,143.50. Really, we arrived at that cost by making quite a few reductions to the scope of work. The contractor did present some additional alternatives. We did not accept them because it was going to require a lot more design time. And frankly, this project's been sort of going for a period of time that
Been 5 years, I believe.
yeah, we felt it was best to just take the savings that we could take and move forward so that we can get the contractor on board. I will say that we did verify the references on the contractor, and they all came back. They have offices in San Antonio and in El Paso. We also checked their bonding company, all of that checked out. So we feel like they're a reputable contractor that we know they're going to want to get in and get this project done as quickly as possible. If anyone has any other questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them.
Yes, I have a question. It is my understanding that the landscaping is also included.
Yes.
Okay, then it should read Plaza Florita restroom, parking lot, and landscape.
And plaza landscape.
Right,
Yeah.
please, because it's not on there.
Yeah, okay.
So we need to include that.
Yeah, we can make that adjustment.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
If this gets approved, when is this gonna start?
Well, as soon as with the approval and the contractor maybe be able to speak to that, but first thing we would do is get their bond, make sure that they have that in place, their performance and payment bond. Just as another note, that was one of the things they offered to remove from the cost. We opted by law, by state, I don't think we can, so we said, no, we need to keep that. Once we get that verified, we'll issue the notice to proceed. Ben, I don't know what you think as far as when we might be able to get going once you receive a notice to proceed.
Would you like to hear from the contractor?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, please, sir. Podium.
Hello there. I'm thinking of probably a couple weeks, two to 3 weeks. We get mobilized. We still have to get contracts together, make those adjustments on our contract for the deductions, that type of thing. So that's what I'm looking at, 2 to 3 weeks.
And once it started, how long is it gonna take to finish everything?
We have 300 days. we're obviously gonna look for, yeah.
So the architect designates the amount of time it should take to do the project. So what will happen is we have approval tonight, there will be, after we have his bond, there will be a notice to proceed issued from the architect to the contractor. At that point, he's on the clock.
And it will get done, right? I mean, it ain't gonna be like a stoppage, you know? It will get done.
So we're gonna have continuous work at the project is what he's asking.
Right.
Yes.
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 And prior to this, remember, that was out of our control, the reason it stopped and everything, that, we don't even want to touch that right now, but
No.
we just want to go forward from here. And the citizens deserve that.
Yes.
I will be the one on site, just let you know, I'll be there.
Can we get like a sketch or something?
Schedule, yes.
Yes. How is it gonna look like?
So Mr. Solis can provide that for you. I believe I have a sketch on the beginning, on the front of the plans, but it's kind of vague on what you can see.
No,
But there is a rendered sketch.
Yes, I wanna see everything.
Yeah,
That's
I've
what
seen
he's
it
asking.
several years
yeah, we
ago.
can submit, we can get that to Mr. Wright.
There's one already.
Yeah, we can prepare that. And then as far as the project schedule itself, the contractor will prepare that. We'll have monthly reviews for payments, and we'll prepare a report every month.
Great.
To submit for approval.
Now on the landscaping, are we gonna have like a sprinkler system?
Yes, yes,
And
there will
everything?
be irrigation.
It's a Cadillac, the way I see it. It's got everything.
Oh,
It's the best.
I will say also that the stone that we're planning on using is it's similar stone to what's at the Plaza.
At the
Florida
plaza.
right now. So it all should sort of blend
Right.
together.
Yeah, one thing, I do have a couple things I want to say. I guess the first one is that this project is 100% funded by the hotel motel tax that the city
Yes.
brings in every year. We probably bring in approximately $1 million a year. The project, what the intention was to get this project started. We're going to reestablish the Plaza Florida board, which I've talked to council about independently, asking for some names for the board. They are going to, those people that are designated on that committee will work directly with Mr. Solis, and they will give him all of the opinions of what they want to see happen at the Plaza Florida.
So the board will still be involved.
Correct. The board's going to be involved.
Okay.
I am not going to be involved.
Okay.
I'm going to go over here. So my opinion doesn't matter. It's going to be the opinion of the community. Also, the Guadalupe Hall, we are looking to modernize the building on the inside, keep it historical on the outside. That will be another project, nowhere near this price that I'm getting quotes for it already, so I'll tell you it's nowhere near this. But it will be impressive. Maybe one day we may have a shot at the Walhausen School, to go ahead and renovate and put that one back to how it was historically, but modernize on the inside as best we can. And maybe create a museum out of it. That was a thought that we had coming in to this whole project.
Right.
So, and after we get moving on to this part in the plaza, maybe we'll touch base on that one again with the ISD.
The good thing about that other one is it's good to have a bingo like some other cities have.
Yeah.
For people that want to have some kind of fun on the weekends or certain days of the week, like it used to be.
I agree.
Yeah, the Guadalupe
Yeah.
Hall.
So that exactly the point. Same thing with the Jimenez store. We're looking to do the same thing. But the whole motivation is to bring people back to the area
Right.
Yes.
and have activity in the area. The Guadalupe Hall specific, the way I see it, and of course it's everybody else's decision, but that's your alternative to the convention center. That's your cheaper alternative.
Exactly.
So the community say, okay, well, you're going to charge them $50, $100 or whatever it is, and they can do their function there. Even if it's a for-profit function or not-for-profit function.
Right.
Yeah. And then you have another outlet that's cheaper for the community.
Do we have a number for occupancy capacity?
I don't yet. We'd have to measure it and then we'll do a little bit of
I
math to
can't
get it.
remember. The other thing that's real important to me, because you did mention that the statue of Ms. Maltzberger is at the city hall to come do it, is to get with the family, they also have I guess it was a song that was written about that community project. And so we want to get that instilled, and we really want a special place for where she's going to be.
Yes, this is.
So I don't know if the plan had it, because I haven't seen it.
Yes, we'll share those renderings with you
Okay.
where the statue is. It's really.
They have a very nice podium for the statue that was designed and going to be built by the contractor.
Yeah.
And then it's going to have seating all the way around the statue. And it's all very nice.
Yeah.
And my assumption is that this has been going on for so long that Mr. Dovalina has shown it.
Yeah.
So, but he will get the renderings and
Yes.
we'll bring it in and show it to you.
Fantastic.
We'll prepare a little presentation to send to Mr.
Great.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so here we are. We already had the discussion. Do we have a motion to vote on this?
Motion.
Okay. Ms. Rodriguez, motion.
Second.
Second motion. Ms. Korlinski. So here we go with the question, the discussion, possible action to approve the restroom, parking lot, and landscaping project, right? Based on the recommendations of Frank Architects, and the bid is $1.157,143.50. Do we have a motion to approve?
Motion.
To approve?
Yes.
Do it.
All in favor?
Yay,
All in favor?
favor?
All in favor?
That's okay.
He threw me off and I'm throwing each other. All in favor to approve? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. I joined you. Moving on to number 11.
Can I,
Yes, ma'am. Go.
am I able to say something to,
You're able to say something to me, and if he hears it, that's good.
okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I just want him to understand that this project is not taxpayer money at all. This is hot tax, hotel motel tax that can only be used for promotion, things that will bring to the city. So just be aware, I know you were concerned about the price of it.
No, I'm not concerned that there are resources that are being overused without any consciousness of being fair and doing the most that you can do with those resources. You know, I know I'm telling you by experience, that this is a very costly project that you have approved.
Right.
And it's something along the lines like the fact that you're saying that it doesn't, I know where the money's coming from.
Right.
Thank you, Mr. Simon.
But cost effective is one thing. The maximizing of resources is our responsibility.
Thank you, sir.
You want to spend 3,000 million just because you got the money?
Well, it's only
I guess,
because, it's
that's
only
the thing.
because I do understand where
You
you're
are
going.
already approved.
Yes, we have. So I just wanted to tell you. it's
Thank you
not
so much.
taxpayer money.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We're out of order.
Yes.
Thank you. All right, we're gonna go ahead and move on to number 11. Discussion and possible action to approve agreement between the Texas Water Development Board and the City of Cotulla to participate in the TWDB CFO and To Go program. And we have a presentation.
Can you hear me?
No.
You can't hear me.
Check to share the line.
Can you hear me?
Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
No.
Let me check my settings.
Well, I heard him through that speaker one.
Yeah, I heard the speaker.
Hello? I see action on my side here, but nothing there. Can you hear me? Hello?
Hello, sir.
That's a little better.
Oh, can you hear me? Hello?
You're going to hear from them.
All right, go ahead. Go ahead.
Let me try it again. Does that work?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Excellent. Had me worried there. Well, good evening, Mayor, members of council, and Administrator Wright. I'm Dennis Kios. I'm with the Texas Water Development Board. I work in an area called financial compliance, reporting up to the CFO of our organization. And I'm here tonight to also present a program that we are offering that would be of no out-of-pocket cost to the city. It's a program that we developed at the request of our CFO as a way to demonstrate further that we consider the TWDB to be a partner in our business with the city. And we're not a regulator like the TCEQ. So we have a mutual interest, and that is, in fact, payment of debt, but also providing the financing that the city needs for various of its water projects. So I'm here to talk about this project. I'm going to give you the overview of the program and how it works, and then I'm going to talk about what we see as the mutual benefits that come out of the program. The program involves 3 phases. The first phase is an assessment phase where we pay the cost of a CPA firm coming into the city to do an assessment of current processes and procedures in the financial functions and related functions of the city. It is not directed to the water operations or anything like that. It is purely the administrative aspects of the finance function and the related activities. The second phase, or the first phase of the project, is actually the CPA firm doing an assessment of current processes and procedures within the finance function. And moving on from that assessment, coming up with a series of recommendations for where there are opportunities for enhancements to existing processes and procedures. The final phase of the project would be the actual development of processes and procedures, and basically leaving a set of documents with the city that have been hammered out by mutual agreement as to what would be most effective in your environment, given your personnel and your systems. So that's the overview. What we consider to be the benefits of the program are, and I think you may have gotten a handout on the CFO to Go program, but I'll just go over a couple of highlights there. We consider the project to be one that helps reduce the risk of loss due to things like fraud, waste, or abuse, which are not unusual in smaller entities. Many organizations have had to deal with issues in this particular area. We also think that it is a great way for governance to your council to demonstrate its good governance activities. Very importantly, we think it documents and preserves knowledge of key processes, procedures, and accounts. And we feel that that is exceptionally important because we have all seen the impact of losing key personnel for various reasons as time passes. The other benefits we see is that the program or participation in the program does assure customers and other stakeholders, your residents of the town, that the organization is following sound management practices. As I mentioned above, we talk about the fact that it does, in fact, strengthen internal controls and provides best-in-class expertise through the free services of the CPA firm. And most importantly to the city, this is a no-cost program. There is no out-of-pocket cost for the services of the CPA firm. It is all borne by the TWDB. And what's in it for you, or what investment you need to make, is really some time on the part of your personnel to work with the CPAs to basically I'm sorry, excuse me. Basically to provide the information they need to do the assessment up front. The bulk of the work will be done by them after the assessment is completed and after we've come to mutual agreement on what changes would be most beneficial in your environment in the eyes of local management. So that is a very broad overview of the program. What we do ask for is for the city and hopefully council to sign a memorandum of agreement, basically agreeing to participate in the program, because it does involve some give and take, and there's got to be some participation by your folks, just in terms of answering questionnaires and things like that. So we ask for that commitment up front that there will be participation on a timely basis so that the program can proceed on a reasonably fast cycle. So that is the overview of the program. I open it up for any questions that you may have on the benefits or the pros and cons of joining the program.
My take on this is that this is going to be a free forensic audit of the operation for the city of Cotulla.
I wouldn't use the term audit.
Yeah,
it's not.
Yeah. So it is also going to help us operate efficiently and properly. So all of us all know that not everybody knows everything, and this is going to give us an opportunity to look when we may know. And I'm for it.
And what's the benefit?
The main benefit that I see is that we'll let the new procedures help us work more efficiently. That's the main benefit.
And it will teach us to what we need to try on and where we're lacking at and where we're good at, and make balance of what the administrative council wants, the way that the office should be run. That might, that this is a better guide to tell us how to down at the checks and balances.
Correct.
Checks and balances. So
And how much would it be costing us for?
Zero.
Oh, zero.
Yes.
Zero cost. Nothing out of pocket.
lost.
I'm having a little trouble hearing you folks, but
Stop.
So
okay. Yes.
Okay. Okay. So you said cost.
The question was cost, and the answer is that there are no out-of-pocket costs at all. Is that the question?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we bear all the costs, including travel and everything else related to the CPAs working on site with you. Now, most of the work, by the way, will not be done on site. The initial work, the assessment, will be done by working with you folks initially. But the actual work of designing and developing and sharing and negotiating the actual policies and procedures will be done fairly frequently, mostly remotely, as I'm doing with you tonight.
So the other, okay, thank you. The other is we would like to have a good positive and continue relationship with the state board, of course. And I think that's a good thing. You know, that for them will help us and will help us in the future for more. So
I'm sorry, I didn't get all that.
We need a vote.
Yes.
I'll make a-
You may vote. Mr. Allen? Mr. Rodriguez, is it? All right. So let's go ahead and ask the question to approve the agreement with Texas Redevelopment and the city to participate in the WBB CFO to go program. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passed.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity to work with you. We'll be in touch, as they say.
Great. Good. All right, we're going to go ahead, come back, we did, we'll come back, 12, 15, but we're going to go to 16. And this is 16, discussion and possible action on the request submitted by the South County Sheriff's Office for facility waive and use of Veterans Park on Tuesday, October 1st, 24 for the annual National Night Out. And the one speaking on this will be the Sheriff. Go ahead, sir.
Good evening, Mayor Luna, City Administrator Wright, council members. I come before you this evening to request that the fee be waived for the city park, for the Veterans Park here in Cotulla, for our annual event of National Night Out. This will be our third annual event hosting National Night Out here in Cotulla. It's for the community, but I'm here before you asking if the fee can be waived so we can use that park for that event. Just like times before, we will be sure to announce our gratitude to the city of Cotulla for allowing us to use the Veterans Park. And I also want to extend an invitation for the city of Cotulla to participate in this. Of course, everything that we offer for this event is free of charge. It could be promotional items, it could be vending, food, drinks, stuff like that. It's basically to draw the community together, get to know each other, and then build that rapport with the community. So that's the reason for my presence today, is for the fee to be waived. I'm sorry.
Any questions to the Sheriff?
I guess we've done it in the past, so.
Yeah.
Make the motion.
Motion.
Your motion to vote on it?
Second.
Your second motion by Ms. Rayana. So the motion to approve a waiver of fee for Veterans Park for National Night Out, sponsored by the LaSalle County Sheriff's Office. Do we have a motion to approve?
For October 1st?
October 1st.
From 6 to
2024.
8, yes.
Okay.
That's got to be in the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council.
Thank you.
I think right now we're going to go to, you said 13 is the Zoom, Georgia?
Yes.
Okay. So we're going to go with 13 and take care of the Zoom. And number 13 is a discussion and possible action to approve the City of Cotulla annual financial report for fiscal year ending September 30th, 2022. You looked at that. That was your number 13.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council members, and members of management.
We can't hear you, sir.
Can you hear us?
No.
Hello?
Go ahead.
Yes, hello? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, good evening, Mayor, City Council members, and members of management. I'm here to present the audited financial statements for the City of Cotulla for the fiscal year ended September 30th, 2022. The first thing that I would like to talk about is our main report on the financial statements. That report is located on page number 1 of the audited financial statements. And pretty much what that report states, it's the most important thing, which is our opinion on the financial statements. And I'm pleased to say that we have issued an unmodified opinion on the financial statements. What that means, that that's the best opinion that a CPA firm can provide to an entity regarding their financial statements. It means that the financial statements are presented in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. So that's the main thing on that report. Following to our opinion, it also mentions what is the basis for our opinions, what are the responsibilities of management regarding the financial statements, and our responsibilities on the audit of the financial statements. So like I was saying, the main thing is that we issued the unmodified opinion on the financial statements. Following to that, I would like to go to page number 12 on the financial statements. And that page is the statement of net position. This is the government-wide, the city-wide statement of net position, most commonly referred to as the balance sheet. And I would like to mention or certify that the net position of the city as of that year ended, it's $19,010,963. Following to that, on page number 13, the following page, that's the statement of activities. That's where you have your revenues less expenses in government-wide, city-wide. And I'm glad that there was a positive change in net position. So it was a net income for the year, and that's $1,118,586. So it increased the net position of the city to the $19,010,963 that I was just mentioning right now. Following to that, which I think it's important for the city, and I know that you look more closely to, on page number 16, we have the general fund statement. Revenue less expenses and other transfers in and out, the fund balance, the general fund balance for the year ended up increasing by $236,372. So your general fund balance ends right now at $2,913,410. Another statement that I would like to talk about, which I think it matters to you all, on page number 18, we have the statement of revenues and expenditures, but budget to actual comparison. And one of the things that we can see on these statements, we can see that actual revenues ended up being more than what was budgeted, and expenditures ended up being more than what was budgeted. But because of that increase in revenue, you ended up in a good position, pretty much 100,000 favorable for the city. The next, those are the main financial statements. Then we have another section on the financial statements, which are called the notes to the financial statements, and they start on page number 27. And that's a series of notes that you are required to present in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. And what those notes consist of is pretty much further explaining information that is already being presented on the actual financial statements. Then I would like, other than the first report that we issue 2 additional reports. The second report that we issue, it's on page number 59 of the financial statements. And that's in relation to the internal controls in relation to government auditing standards. And in this report, we are required to report at this level of the report any significant deficiencies or material weaknesses identified during the audit. And we are pleased to say that we did not encounter any of those. And finally, on page number 61, that is our third report that we issue. And this third report is in relation to the single audit of the city. And this is in relation to the federal grants received by the city. And on this report, we are required to provide an opinion on your federal major grants on the city. And also, we are required to identify significant deficiencies or material weaknesses identified during the testing of the federal grants that we audited. And we also, we did not encounter any of those. So pretty much that concludes my presentation. I know that this is a very lengthy report. And as always, like I tell all my clients, if there's any further questions, we're always available here at our firm, to answer any questions that you might have in the future.
I have one thing I want to say on this. You turn it down. It goes down. If you pay 16, you're going to see going back to your general $2.9 million. Right next to that, you have negative solid waste $1.9 million. Well, that's you general fund. So just see the 9 there, mean we have it, because that 1.9 ain't money up. So just parents are, that is not sitting in the bank because there's no use to the software. So that's all.
I'm sorry. I don't know if that was a question for me because
No.
it was, no? Oh, okay, sorry.
Anything else?
That's all I have.
Any discussion? Yes, sir. I think that's it for us. So we have a motion to approve the annual financial report for fiscal year ending September 30, 2022. The motion, okay. The question is, are we approving the budget amount? No, not, that's, I lost one. Here we go. Let's vote to approve the Petula financial report for fiscal year ending September 30, 2022. Do I have a motion to approve? No, we're approving.
Yes. She voted first.
All in favor?
Any opposed? Motion carried. Okay.
Thank you, and have a good rest of the day.
And also, we did our E23 audit by September 30. No guarantees, but that's what the deadline is.
Good, we're trying to catch up.
Playing catch up.
Right. Last but not least, no, we still have a lot, but number 12, get back in order here a little bit. This is discussion and possible action to approve a budget amount not to exceed $25,000 for the second annual Hispanic Heritage Festival.
Yeah, one that says 17,000, which is that?
That is the most recent one. I think Bianca gave you a
This one.
Oh, okay, yeah, no. So I'm not at 26,000. I'm at 17.
17,000.
It's just the 25 just in case I need more, but I don't think I will. I think we're pretty good and set on this amount, the 17, but the 25 is.
Jen, I have a question. Is that to include banners and things for postings of some on the main street and in different areas or not?
No.
No, just at the plaza.
Remember we talked about advertisement the other day?
Oh, yeah, I
That's
did.
an additional cost.
Like the posters we have in the office, those I took some of those, and like not the banners. You're talking about the banners that go across the road, right? The
Yeah,
street?
one or two, I mean, little something.
Yeah, I can price those. I haven't priced those. But
We also have to call TxDOT to get approval to put them. they're very stringent on what we can put across Main Street.
Across, yeah.
So-
And I was thinking maybe like one at the light and maybe one in the, and near the Plaza Delicias and wherever, something.
Yeah,
A few of them, I don't know.
usually they'll allow us at Veterans Park, but they want it taken down right after the event.
Right.
So
Mhm.
Okay. So do we have a motion to vote on the
I'll make a motion.
motion?
Second the motion.
Okay. So, I'm sorry? I heard something. Trish, you have something?
No, I was
Oh,
just
okay.
saying, all in favor?
There you go. Okay, all in favor to approve the budget amount not to exceed 25,000 for the second annual Hispanic Heritage Festival?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Approved.
I was late on
Number 12.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Ya mero.
Ya mero, ya mero.
Uno más.
No.
Two more.
Okay, here we go. Number 14. Discussion and possible action on a request submitted by Justice of the Peace Roxanne Rodriguez for facility waive and use of Alexander Convention Center on Wednesday, October 16, 2024, to host a judicial roundtable conference. What she told me was it was JPs are coming and they're having training and that conference.
I motion it.
Discussion, please?
Yes.
Okay. He's making a
Yes.
motion.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Of course, I do not agree that, that we should waive this, this fee whatsoever. I feel that, you can waive the fee for the hall, but we definitely have to charge something for the electric, the water. They want this, for like all day. We need to pay somebody to clean the hall and the electric and air conditioning. So I truly believe that we don't, the Civic Center is not to make money, but it certainly isn't to
Give it away.
lose money either. We need to stay at least even. So in my opinion, I believe that there should be a charge for the electric, water, cleanup.
I thought we were gonna do like some kind of program for people that wanted to
Yeah, so
use it. and-
last meeting, there was communication to Mr. Pena to go ahead and alter the contract and then to come up with some kind of pay schedule for not-for-profits. He's working on it. It's the best I can say at the moment.
So I mean, because we're talking the JP, she has a budget. The only reason I said okay for our park, it's not costing us anything, and he's bringing the community together. She's bringing, very important, to bring the JPs together for conference and stuff. I'm not saying it isn't.
Do we consider the JPs as government entities?
And I have a different mindset on that,
I mean, and we all have a different mindset.
Yes. Of
course,
my,
of course.
my thing is the way I look at it. It's a government entity.
Yes.
And when I say government entity, they all pay taxes. And we have interlocal agreements with the county, doing pavement, picking up branches on the streets. So we don't pay anything to the county back, but we work with each other in differences. So that's my opinion is, I think that we should be equal since it's a government entity.
So you're saying that by helping us do things, and they do a lot of things, whether in precinct 1, precinct 3.
Correct.
precinct
It
5,
all comes
they're
into,
always doing some
it all
kind of
comes
work. and you feel like
from people's taxes. It's a government.
We all work with one another. We all work
But
with
that's
one
me.
another, and
Oh, no, that's
and
good. We need
she-
opinions, sure.
she does work. I mean, the same as the county and all, So I mean, she deserves the
And I'm sure that if
the
something would
same
break or something, then we
treatment
can.
as the sheriff and so.
So we do, there is a right member understanding with the county that if there's damages or anything else incurred, that they cover the cost.
They're gonna leave it as it
There's
was,
a
clean.
proposed interlocal agreement, which I'm gonna be talking to Steve about pretty soon also, with the county, but we're gonna bring it to a later meeting.
So I'm all in
Probably
favor
the
of
next meeting.
waiving that fee.
Well, I'm just saying, because as a resident, if I want to use the Civic Center, that's give me a waiver, I have to pay.
Yes.
Even for a funeral luncheon in our little room downstairs, it's a $50 for a funeral luncheon, just to use that room, which is nothing, $50, but at least it's gonna pay for the air conditioning and everything else. That's why I'm saying I do not believe that anybody that can and has a budget should at least be charged for utilities. But that's my opinion, and he's got his, and we work really well together. So whatever works out for everybody, that's fine with me. I'm just stating my opinions.
That's why
think
I'm
anybody
gonna
should-
put my 2 cents there. That's why I'm looking forward to, if we can solar this and not cost anybody, then we're okay with letting it out. But we're not
thing
there
is
yet.
that- that
Until then.
There's also not a waiver for me, you know, I mean,
Like,
but I'm all for the,
Camaraderie.
yes, people that work
If
for the
it's personal
county and,
things.
you know, there's, I mean, if I want to brand it, if I ask for something like that, I mean, that's something
You're
different,
not
you know,
exempt.
but we have to
Right, but
work
see,
with
if
one
we-
another, you know.
My
And-
thought, I'll tell you what my thought is on the
And
civic.
to me, I'm all for the waiver on
For
that
the
one.
waiver on that one.
Yes.
My thought on the Civic Center, and I've been back and forth because I've been hearing from different areas and things. I know that last discussion got to the superintendent. He and I have already had a discussion. We're good to go. But still, you know, he was like, okay, what happened? But the thing is that we approved the August 5th, and this is where we need to get better at. And David's working on some of those things. We approved that August 5th, and this is not, I know, JP, but we approved that August 5th one, and then they didn't use it. And then they got upset and they didn't use it. Well, but we didn't rent it out. So we have to have, we do have to have some kind of, be able to say, okay, if we approve it, you got to use it. You know, if we don't approve it, then we have to have a better way of doing things with it.
Right, with the interlocal that we do with the
County.
with the county and stuff is interlocal. We do, they do.
Yes.
But what interlocal do we do with JP's or with the one that's coming up now?
Well, when I say, when we say interlocal agreement, it means like it's a whole government entity. I look
Yes.
at it as a whole county.
Yeah.
Regardless if you're in the precinct 1, precinct 4, 5,
Right.
you know.
But we
I-
do for them, they do for us.
Right.
What does JP do?
Well, I talk in general, you know, I mean,
I know.
general
They're part
is,
of the-
is
yeah.
a pavement,
Right, right.
you know, picking up branches. And on the other side of the criminal justice, they've helped in the past with the inmates, you know, cutting grass, which is no cost or nothing. You know, there's an interlocal agreement with the Department of Criminal Justice. As much
Now,
as-
since we're talking in general here, this is where I have, do we extend that interlocal when they want to have a Christmas party and it's in the evening? I'm going to say no. If it's during the week and it's a Monday through Friday, I'm going to say yes. But I mean, that's up to this council, of course.
I think that maybe we should end this year with however we've been doing it.
Yes.
And let's go with January
We need
1st,
to-
we're
we need to-
changing.
yeah.
This is how it is. Let's let the public know. Let's let the interlocal agreement know, everybody, so that we're all on the same
Yeah,
page.
so
And we have prices and different.
Yeah, but you're working on it, so.
Yes, we
Yeah.
are,
Yeah, we're
with
just
Mr. Pena. He's,
stating
So let's
opinions
end
right
the year
now.
with making everybody happy.
All right.
That's
Do I
my
have a motion to
opinion.
go ahead and vote on this topic?
There we go.
I make a motion.
You make a motion?
I second it.
Second it, okay. So do we want to approve Justice of the Peace Alexander Rodriguez to use the facility fee-free for the Alexander Civic Center on Wednesday, October 16th, 2024, to host the roundtable conference? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay,
Motion carries. Okay, number 15, discussion and possible action on a request submitted by Texas Department of Criminal Justice, Cthulhu, for facility fee waive on the Alexander, here we go again, Alexander Convention Center on Monday, December 23rd, 2024, to host the annual Christmas employee gathering. Discussion, I'm asking, I don't know if anybody's here. Do we know what time they're using it? Is it during the day?
I think so. But I'll step to the side, since I work.
In December,
It doesn't have a time here, let's see.
December
just-
23rd, 2024.
It's usually in the morning.
oh, in the morning?
Yeah.
Okay, that's,
I think that-
that's on a Monday.
Yeah.
It's on a Monday.
Should be a Monday morning.
Monday morning or evening or something like that. I think it's the evening.
So do we have any further discussion on that one? Do we want to vote on it?
I'll second.
Did you second, Alejandro? So here we go with the request submitted by TCJ Criminal Justice Cachula Facility for fee waiver and use of the Alexander Convention Center on Monday, December 23rd, 2024, to host their annual Christmas employee gathering. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
All right, here we go. It's, time is 8:55, and we're going into closed session to consult with attorney on topic hop tax, code compliance, and transfer station, and stuff like that. The time is